Well, welcome back. I'm back in the studio, the conference studio, and I'm joined today by Kate Kurdziej. Hi, Kate.
Hello, Ali. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Start off for the ladies who have never met you before with a little bit of your story, Kate.
Yes. So my official title is business consultant and business strategist. Um, and I work predominantly with service providers, coaches, consultants, people who work with their clients sort of in a one-to-one basis or maybe one-to-many in a group. And I got to where I am by quite a long, convoluted story, which I won't tell you. I won't give you all the details. It's very long. But my business has been through 3 different countries. So it started in the UK nearly 5 years ago now. It was a pandemic-related business, but actually more maternity leave business. I quit my very toxic corporate job. I was on paper doing brilliantly, but mentally, mental health wise, was not doing brilliantly in 2019, and fell pregnant when I joined a new role. It was a practice manager for a wealth management company. And yeah, long story short, crying in the car park to HR, 3 months
Wow.
pregnant, and just thought, what am I doing with my life? So quit. Had maternity leave, but it was statutory maternity leave in the UK, and then COVID happened, and my baby was born 2 weeks after that very first lockdown in the UK.
Wow.
So we had quite a tumultuous 2020, but actually it sort of was the catalyst, I guess you could say, for
Yeah.
what happened next. So my husband and I have always wanted to move to France. So we met in France, we got married in France. That was the dream. So when my son was not even a year and a half, we thought, let's do it, let's go. Like 2020, we've lost people in 2020, terrible jobs in the UK, just really wanted to like a fresh start and to actually fulfill the dream that we always had, and moved to France, did it for 2 years. It was meant to be the permanent move, but was never quite right. I think it was a sort of culmination of a few different factors, living in the wrong place, didn't get any childcare. So it was just me, my husband and Ollie for a very long, cold year, cold winter in France. And then we managed to get him into a French creche, and we just knew something wasn't right. And I remember watching a TV program, and we'd considered Spain sort of very briefly, but none of us spoke Spanish. Neither of us spoke Spanish. We speak fluent French. So France was always the obvious choice. And yeah, we were watching it in the very cold French winters, watching a TV program, and it was showing Spain even in the winter, and people were swimming in some of the beaches, and we were like, that's the life that we want to live. So we had about 4 months to get things completely sorted, because Ollie was about to, well, he was going to turn 3 and needed to start French school. They have to start when they're 3 these days. And we thought he wasn't doing so well in the French school system anyway. It wasn't the place for him. So we thought it's either now or never, probably, because he's already learning French and sort of getting ingrained. And my husband and I weren't particularly loving it there either anymore. So yeah, long story short, 4 months, digital nomad visa, just chucked everything in, handed in our rental contract before the visa even came through, and just gambled, bought a house without seeing it, did all the things that you're not supposed to do, but we kind of were at that point where it was like, this is it, this is what we want to do. So yeah, now I live in Javier on the northern Costa Blanca.
Okay.
Love it here. So my business was UK, then France, now it's Spanish. So I'm autonomo in Spain, and yeah, best decision ever. So my son goes to school here. My husband's just started a new job, and my business is doing great in its 5th year. So all's well that ends well.
Yeah, brilliant. And something you alluded to there with your corporate career is something that you're going to be covering for the conference, isn't it? Boundaries, which I think is a very hot topic,
Yes.
because as people that work for ourselves, women that work for ourselves, I put my hand up. I'm particularly bad at boundaries, so I'm really looking forward to your talk. So just give us a brief overview of your topic.
Yes. Okay. So all about client boundaries. So like I said, I work with people that work with their clients one-to-one, and there's a lot of issues that come about after that first few months, first 6 months, year in business, where suddenly the clients, your clients, are kind of running your diary and running your life, and you feel very sort of chased by people. And often it's not the client being a terrible client. There is sometimes part of that. Some people are needier than other people, but actually a lot of it is actually us putting the correct structure, systems, boundaries in place to be able to run our business and be able to clock off and be able to step back and not feel like we're not in control. Because a lot of us started our business because we wanted the freedom, the flexibility, the ability to control our own diary. And often people fall back into a trap of not being able to do that because of this new reason, which you probably didn't have in your old career, because you may have worked in a bigger corporation, a bigger business where you weren't in such direct contact and it was B2B most of the time, business to business. You still get some of that with B2B when you run your own business, but sometimes we work with people just directly, just one-on-one, and just human nature. People have different characteristics, different ways that they work, and we need to make sure that we have the structures in place to be able to still enjoy our business on a daily, weekly basis and not feel like this isn't quite what we set it up to be. We don't have that freedom and flexibility. So yeah, that's it in a nutshell.
Brilliant. Well, I'm looking forward to hearing your tips. The theme for the conference is make it happen by being you. What does that phrase mean to you?
Oh, yeah, that's a very powerful phrase. I think for me, I spend most of my sort of marketing time on Instagram, and there's a lot of I think Instagram is one of those platforms where people only post the highlight reel and only post, you know, what it can be viewed as a good marketing message at that point, or drive sales. And it's very much, you start to compare yourself, start to have that little bit of imposter syndrome, and actually that isn't the real them most of the time. And I'm in quite a fortunate position where I see behind the scenes of quite a lot of businesses, and I can see that isn't in alignment. What you're saying there is completely skirting over all of these difficult challenges you may have had, or these bad sales months that you may have had, and you know, all of this that comes out of it. So for me, it's showing up for yourself and in your business as well. And I think I need to take my own advice as well on this. You know, I think we can all do a bit better of actually saying what is really happening in our business and our lives, as much as we want to share. And often that brings people closer. And I know from experience, when I have gone through periods of feeling like I share a little bit more, people create inquiries. You know, people inquire to work with me. So there is sort of a logic to it, even though it can feel quite uncomfortable and feel like you have to present this sort of shiny image. Actually, people connect and resonate much more with the real you. And then that's the catalyst for your growth in whatever direction that you want to go.
Yeah, 100% agree. The human side of anybody is much easier to understand and tap into, isn't it, than the, well, not fake side, but the happy, you know, everything's going wonderful and look how well I'm doing side. So 100% agree with you on that one. Yeah. Do you have any specific thoughts on equality for women?
Yeah, something that always comes up for me is when I speak to, I predominantly, not exclusively, if a man wants to work with me, I'm quite happy to, but I predominantly market to and work with women business owners. And what I notice is their story for starting their business is often because they're pushed out of a role, or there's issues with childcare fees. It's usually from a more of a negative, like a push factor, like not like that they were in a privileged position and they were just able to start the business that they've always wanted to. There's often a toxicity at work, or an issue with a maternity leave, something like that. Whereas males, generally, the ones that I've sort of conducted this kind of like internal research with, don't have that issue. They start it because they want to start it. That's a really interesting sort of base point for how, coming at it from a business point of view, is how people, or why people start their business. So for me, I would like to, in the future, see a lot more women starting businesses simply because they want to, because they feel like that's the thing that they choose to do and they have the ability to choose that, not because they can't find childcare or they need to fit things around maternity leave and, you know, those sorts of issues that come with being a woman quite often.
Yeah, really like that whole change of dynamic, so that we're doing it because it's, you know, it's our passion to have it rather than because we have to.
Yeah, I find a lot of women as well have issues around, I help a lot of people increase their prices, part of the sort of structural, operational side of the business that I help people with. A lot of it comes down to services and pricing. There's real resistance around charging more. And I find that fascinating, and that goes much deeper than business. A lot of that is the person and their sort of money beliefs that they've grown up with. But I find that fascinating as well. There's not so much of a resistance in the male-dominated industries as there are when women are running their own businesses. They try and keep the cost as low as possible.
Yeah, that's another wonderful topic we could cover for. If you want to hear Kate, do check out the conference. You're going to be meeting her and the other speakers at the conference. I'm really looking forward to meeting you in real life, Kate, because we've obviously met online quite a bit, but really looking forward to meeting you in real life. Do check out the end of the video for information about the date and the location for the conference. I look forward to seeing you then.
Thank you. Bye, Ali.
Bye.